day and welcome to your weekly dose of Economics N4, and we're on Module 4 where with the choices of the firms. And the firms would make choices because they set certain objectives for themselves, whether they're going to sell products or whether they're going to render a service, but there are certain objectives that they need to consider when they are in business. So these firms get into business in order to attain all of these objectives. And the first one, and the slide says we're going to start off with the objectives, and the first one is the maximization of profits. Yes, we don't want to go into business or start off a business knowing that we're going to fail or that we're just in the sake of doing something. We want to make money. We're not working for a boss. We are an entrepreneur and we are into making some profits. So maximizing profits is that indispensable objective of any business that wants to create an environment of growth and development. So the first one says it's most common and theoretically easy, because when your income is more than your expenses, you're already making a profit. Now, businesses run at specific profit margins, and we will go later into the calculations of profits, but as we know that the first profit that you make is when your income is exceeding your expenses. And then you're going to have to deduct all other incurring expenses to get into the net profit, saying that, oh, at this day, this is the amount of money that I put into the pocket for certain events like savings or investments. So that is definitely the first common and theoretically easy objective to attain. Profits are indispensable for a firm's survival. So if you do not make a profit, you are breaking even and you're just there for the sake of being a business. So you are always trying to develop your business and you increment your sales or your services in such a way so that you can actually become profitable and feasible to stay within the business. Whatever the stated objective, bottom line is always important. Meaning you can make your costs. You can cover your costs with the income that you are receiving or the revenue that you are getting in to your business, that you are trading on the bottom line. Now, what is a triple bottom line? Profit is the first bottom line. Being sustainable is the second one. And thirdly, that's your homework. But for now, we will stick on to the one bottom line is to make profitability or the profits of any business. Achieving other objectives depends on the firm's ability to maximize in profits. Now, to stay within the business, you need to have a high profit. So that is the second bottom line. Remember what I said? The second bottom line, you want to stay within the business in order to obtain all the other objectives. It's a reliable measure of the firm's efficiency, feasibility, whether the business is correct, whether everything is what the business wants to achieve is being done for future performance or development. So what is the golden rule of any profit? The income must exceed the expenses. The income must exceed the expenses. Golden rule. Any profit equals the total revenue, that what you receive, minus your total cost, what you have put in. So it should be then the output minus the input gives you your total profit. The input must be less than what you're receiving out, because that is your profit. Profit maximization output is at that point where the gap between total revenue and total cost is at the maximum. In a nutshell, let it sink in. Total revenue and total cost is at its maximum, and then that is where you are making your profit. So secondly, which measure of profit can you get or attain? The first profit that you get, and yes, many of you now are in the work sector. At the bottom of the pay of your salary slip, you will see net salary, and that is what the gross salary. That is when the business pays in your salary and deducts all the necessary expenses like your pension, like your medical aid, like your tax, like your union funds, etc. And that's your gross salary. So you go home with your gross salary, and guess what? And there goes Edgar's, and there goes the school fees, and there goes any swipes that you do then on your account is then what is left over is your net salary. It works in the same principle as the business. You start off with a gross profit, meaning your total income minus your total expenses, and you'll get a gross profit, and then that is a necessary direct cost that you need to incur, and then after that you're going to incur all the ad hoc expenses, whether it's transport, whether it's fuel, whether it is water, electricity, etc. And then you're going to deduct that, and what is left over, that is your net profit. So you start off with your total income minus your total expenses, which gives you gross profit, and gross profit minus any other additional costs, it will leave you with the net profit. So the time period minus the current next year need to be 5/10, meaning half yearly, could be in a yearly, could be 36 months, depending on when do you want to determine the profit. In the future profit, time value of money, meaning you're going to take into consideration over what period you're going to extend your income, and over what period you're going to extend your expenses, in order to determine what is the profitability over that specific period. Impossible to maximize profits in a competitive market. Why? You always need to stay abreast with what your competitors are doing. We call that a competitive advantage. So it is almost impossible to maximize profit, because the minute you see, okay, here's my profit, this is the point that I'm going to make a profit, then your competitor comes up with something new, and then you need to plow off that profits that you made into the business again in order to get your competitive edge over and above your competitor. So that is what we talk about. It is almost impossible to maximize profits, although it is theoretically the same one that you actually will grasp and will get to within the business. Next, Baumol's hypothesis. Managers aim to maximization of the firm's total revenue rather than profits. So here comes this chap and he says, okay, this is profits, but now see, every time when the competitor comes out with something new, an innovative, creative idea, then we need to up our game, and there goes our profits again. We need to plow back the profits into the business. So he comes up and says, hang on, let's not look only at profits. Let's look at how many products we sell. And with selling a specific product, we need to know at what price are we selling the product. Because remember, we're going to have or gain your competitors who's trying to get into the market to try and drop their prices or increase their prices, etc. And they will play this price war against each other in the market in order to obtain the loyal market share. So yes, Baumol's hypothesis says managers aim at maximization of a firm's total revenue rather than the profits. And like I just explained, in competitive markets, sales volume determines the market leadership. Who sells the most? Your competitor is going to try to get the market share. So they're going to have marketing campaigns, they're going to have advertising, they're going to have big initiatives in order to grasp the specific market share. A market share meaning the number of people that you are targeting that is loyal to your business, buying your specific product. Separation of management and ownership. For managers, salaries and other earnings are more closely related to sales revenue rather than the profits. So, if I'm the owner, I'm going to drive profits. If I'm a manager, I'm going to drive sales. Let that sink in. If I'm the owner, I want profit. If I'm the manager, I'm going to drive sales. Why I'm going to drive sales? Because if I reach a target, more money into the business, and both parties then smile. So how are you going to measure the performance? Sales revenue is important for financial institutions. Why? The volume of the products or the quantity that you are selling determines the sales revenue. And again, I want to emphasize the volume that you are selling your product at which price you're selling your product at will determine then the sales revenue. Financial institutions is a measure of performance. It's a tool that you can measure the performance, and banks while financing the financial institution that are financing your product or your business for that matter. So that will be determining or measuring your sales revenue. Data on trends in sales revenues is a readily available indicator of performance. Can you imagine you come up with a new product and your product is not selling? That's an indicator that your product is not feasible. You're going to drop out of the market unless you come up with an innovative idea. Consistently maintaining profits is difficult for managers, but increasing sales revenue is feasible. Repeat. Consistently maintaining profits is difficult for managers, but increasing sales revenue is feasible. So the more products you sell at the right price, the right quantity, at the right time, at the right place, you will increase your revenue. And whilst you're increasing your revenue, then only you can increase your profits. Because remember, profits equals total revenue minus total cost. Growing sales strengthen competitive spirit. Again, and the specific slide shows you competitive spirit. I like to call it competitive advantage. You have that edge over your competitor, and knowing that if your profits increase, if your sales revenue increase, then it will lead to a competitive advantage. Why? You have sold your product in the right volume, at the right time, the right quantity, at the right price, and you have established your loyal market share. Lastly, empirical evidence does not lead to decisive conclusion on Bowman's hypothesis. So if you see that that is a specific sense that you are making a good profit because your sales was up, you need to determine another thing. Yes, you guessed it right. Sales that needs to be maximized in order to maximize the revenue. So the quantity, the volume that you need to sell will determine the revenue that you are getting in. So total revenue minus total cost will determine profits. I'm going to leave you with that thought, and please do not neglect to answer your class activities within your textbook as we go along. Thank you very much. See you in part 2.